Are we ready to do this? We're ready to get out the vote? We're ready to win?
We get everybody out and vote. There's not a thing they can do.
Something ain't right.
We put this festival on you bastards with a lot of love. We worked for 1 year for you pigs. Oh, you want to break our walls now? Oh, you want to destroy it? Well, you go to hell.
Real Deal Media's election coverage 2024, night 4. Yes, indeed. I am Dean Ryan here, who is rejoining you tonight as we do the last normal type of coverage here for this most critical historical election of our lifetime, as we have our last normalized coverage before tomorrow, and the world changes for the better, the greater, the worse, or nothing happens at all. You have your choices, but we have a lot to get to. And joining me tonight as we journey through with you with the last night of Big Super Tuesday is our very own political analyst himself, Jim Betzert. Jim, how are you doing on election eve? A lot of nerves, a lot of anxiety all over the country. We can feel it, the tension. How are you doing this election eve?
Well, the bottom line, Dean, is that Trump can waste Kamala. She's a non-figure. The question is, can Trump beat the fraud machine? That's the whole question.
Yeah, the fraud machine. You know, Dominion was a problem 2 years ago, was a problem 4 years ago. The fact that we're the lawmakers outlawing this thing. Why do people keep saying, well, we're going to get it right next election, and the next election comes? We're going to get it right next election. There's a lot at play here. I see a contested election being dragged out just like 2000. You see it that way?
Well, it could be. The Republicans are already bringing lawsuits in various counties, I think in Pennsylvania or in Georgia. I think they're very aware they're going to act very fast. But the schemes, the way they can steal elections, it's down to printing a ballot with a little dot in the Kamala so that it registers, it records for Kamala no matter what you put into the other box, no matter how you scratch it out for Trump. It's got that little dot that's going to mean the ballot is counted for Kamala regardless.
Yeah, that's the problem with these machines. But anyways, well, we're gonna be opening up the lines tonight. We want to hear what you say out there. How are you feeling? What do you think is going to go down tomorrow? Jim, do we know how much of the country has already voted? Is it half the country, or is tomorrow
yeah, it's staggering. It's I think it's getting close to 70 million, Dean. I think a very large percentage. Over roughly half the electorate, I would say, yeah. Because Trump, you see, before said, hold back, don't vote early. This time he reversed and had us voting early, which I did myself with my wife. Canceling each other out, alas. I mean, I would rather have had 2 votes for Trump, but that was not her inclination. So what can I say?
No, she can at least vote for Jill Stein, at the very least. Feel free to join the convo. We want to hear what you have to say. Mitchell Duke says 65%. 65%. Isn't that?
That's not 2/3. That's 2/3.
Angry Mimi says, I fear it's going to be brutal. Yeah, that could very well be true.
Well, remember, an insider from the World Economic Forum said they were going to dump 30 million votes, and WF was going to dump 30 million votes tomorrow for Kamala.
Wow. Anyways, Jim, why don't we get to it? We have a few headlines to get to, plus some other things that you want to talk about up there. We want to hear from you, no doubt about it. But let's get started with a few headlines, political headlines, election from around the world and in your neck of the bloody woods. It's now being said that Kamala Harris has a 4-point lead. Some of the head pollsters are saying, of course, we all know that ABC accidentally put out wrong information about a early election result, 52-47. Well, that's not much different now. This is coming out of PBS, Public Broadcasting S-word. Well, now they're saying Harris has a 4-point lead over Trump in final PBS News NPR election poll. Oh, yes, very true. On the eve of the presidential election, Vice President Kamala Harris holds a 4-point lead over Trump among likely voters nationally. According to the latest PBS News poll, Harris has support of 51% of likely voters to Trump's 47%. Predetermined. Do we see a lead just outside a 3.5-point margin? A little more than half of those independents support the Republican nominee, a 5-point lead over Harris. It remains a close election, said Lee Murningoff just recently over there, the director of the public opinion. He said, as far as the popular vote is concerned, it's hers to lose. Isn't that something? Here's another quote. He said, we've gone through all of this to get back pretty much where we ended up 4 years ago. Not much has changed. Trump has held on to his lead among men, but it has shrunk to 4 points, down from the 16-point average he had over Harris in October now. Oh, yeah. At the same time, 55% amongst women, as they said, Harris will make a stride, a resurgence amongst women of color very soon, if not leading. Vice President's lead among women has shrunk, though, overall, 18 points to 11 points since the beginning of last month. The gender split of the poll is nearly identical between Biden versus Trump in a 2020 poll just years back. Not much has changed except for the fact that momentum for Trump has been bigger than ever, but they're still willing to steal. That seems to be the case and the theme of the day. Now, what else seems to be interesting as I'm telling you this? Well, guess what? The White House is now fenced up, boarded up windows, you name it. They're gone. Oh, yes, signs of the impeding election day and the collective anxiety about what may bring emerged across the District of Criminals recently. Authorities now fortified buildings. Officials work to tap down residents' concerns. Now, fences, as of today, have went up at the White House and other key locations. Businesses boarded up the windows, and Washington's police chief detailed plans to mobilize, galvanize, and yes, surveillance, and maybe if you're lucky, put their hands down your pants. Well, and hundreds gathered now just recently over the Washington landmark to pray for the future of the country's democracy. There's a lot on the line this week, and Mayor Bowser has said they've got to make sure Kamala wins too, but they just don't want to say it. And that is now official. So it's all boarded up. The whole thing is boarded up. It's just incredible. And finally, what else seems to be happening? If you thought the storm was just a political storm, well, now it's a new hurricane is likely to brew in the Caribbean and reach the U.S. soon. Just when you thought, what else can happen? An Advil is going to fall on me? Well, now meteorologists are now expecting a tropical storm to form in the Caribbean in the next few days, which could evolve into a hurricane before possibly striking the United States. The next named storm will be Raphael. That's right. The Caribbean Sea is now just rocking into a Category 5, potentially, as it usually starts in the Grand Cayman Islands. And what else do we need now besides a hurricane? But if you want to get a little sense of how this last day of campaigning and rally is, well, here's some sights and sounds as the last day of rallies for Election Eve is now underway.
But what you all are signing up to do today and what you've been doing, like, let's enjoy it. You know, and I know you do. I can feel the mood in here because it's the best of who we are as a democracy. And I think we've kind of, right? And that's what our campaign has been about. We are a people-driven campaign. And we love the people. And we see in the face of a stranger a neighbor, right? And that's the spirit of what we are doing. And over these last, this whole era of this other guy, what it's done with all that talk that's been about trying to have us point fingers at each other and divide each other, it makes people feel alone. It makes them feel like there's nobody standing with them. And so the way I've always been thinking about our campaign in these next 24 hours is, as we are getting out the vote, as we are canvassing, let's be intentional about building community, about building coalitions, about reminding people we all have so much more in common than what separates us. There is power in that. There is power in that.
Let's vote. Let's get out the 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 vote. Let's win.
And if we don't, they have to get every person that ever signed anything in that horrendously dangerous party that's going to destroy our country. And it already is destroying our country. We just can't let that happen. We cannot let that happen. So here's my only purpose in even being here today. Get out and vote. If they don't stop this onslaught of criminals and drugs coming into our country, I'm going to immediately impose a 25% tariff on everything they send in to the United States of America. And the reason I delayed that, you're the first ones I've told it to. Congratulations, North Carolina. The prices are too high. We're just one day away from the best jobs and biggest paychecks and the brightest economic future that the world has ever seen.
Jim, let's talk about this now, because I heard there's about 500 lawyers from the Trump campaign at nearly every strategic state that's a determining state. The Trump campaign is ready to go full on legal. The rampant, flagrant cheating is so obvious, even Helen Keller can see it at this point. But Trump seems determined to me. Do you see it that way, Jim? Because he's a hurricane in his own right.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And by the way, that Kamala appeared to be one of her doubles. Kamala has kind of a turkey neck. This woman had a smooth neck. They got two Kamala doubles. One knows Spanish. During the talk to Latinos, she burst out in Spanish. But Kamala herself doesn't know Spanish. And then, so, the fraud goes on at every level in this campaign, Dean. It boggles the mind.
No, it really does. And we know that they're using doubles. We saw it during the State of the Union address. But, Jim, we talked about momentum. When you get past the green screen and the CGI that she's using, there is no momentum. In fact, a lot of the individuals are going to these so-called rallies, well, to no avail. There's nobody there. Check this out.
Here we are on the Muhlenberg College campus. As you can see, Kamala's bust-in tiny crowd has arrived, and it is looking bleak. I mean, there's absolutely no interest for this person in Allentown, in the Lehigh Valley. It is very sad to witness the death of Joy. The joy is gone, folks. The joy is truly gone.
The thrill is gone. The thrill is gone.
See, remember, she started off going to have a campaign of joy. So what he's saying is it's petered out. There never was anything to it. It had no substance whatsoever. At no point did this Kamala Harris have any serious prospect of being capable of serving in the office of president. She's a pathetic, empty vessel. She does not have a functioning intellect. She's never had an original thought in her life. and she appears to have done her best work as a comfort servant to Willie Brown when he had legislation he needed to get passed. They'd have Kamala spend the night with a reluctant legislator to change his vote. That was the high point of her. That's the high point of her career, Dean.
Speaking of high points, well, maybe this next video of someone who went to another rally, maybe this is a high point. Let's give it open-minded.
Yo, look at this. That's the bus. So we just got to Muhlenberg College where they're doing the Kamala event. And look, you can see the bus where they're busing people in.
I was wondering why they're double parked.
That's the bus.
Busing them all in.
Look, you see them. They're all getting off the bus right there. Watching them get off the bus right there. They're not even from here.
They got their masks on? No way.
Oh, yeah. We got the bus. That's the bus right there.
So they're the social distance.
Pop out.
You're muted. You're muted.
I know. Yeah, I know. I know. Everything's backfiring on me. There's nothing I can do, folks. This is the shitty tech I have. I push things 10 seconds later. It works. Sorry.
That's what they're doing. They're busing Kamala's crowd from event to event. I mean, it's that bad. Nobody gives. Remember, in 2020, the final event was a joint appearance of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in Phoenix. And no one turned out. This is a day before the election. Nobody came to see him. All that were there were a couple of reporters. And the next day, the guy supposedly got 81 million votes. Give me a break. This is insulting beyond belief, Dean. It's all fraud. They took it to heart. Henry Kissinger's observation of facts don't matter, only perceptions. And they're trying to work on a perception. But the perceptions today are all bad, too. They're all negative.
The old saying is perception is reality and image is everything. And then the Bush doctorate is admit to nothing and deny everything. So you see how these work. We have a lot of people who are saying with a lot of comments out there. Let's start with, we have a lot of people coming from Facebook. We may have some surprise guests. We have Angie Howard says, love the gym man. Yes, we do.
Thanks,
yes,
Angie.
we do. We love the gym man. We have Stacy Nelson saying, she drove 50 miles today, she said, to go vote. Let's talk about it. We'll try again. I think Facebook. I said, drove 50 miles today to seen 50 Trump signs and one Harris camp on a Timmy sign. They're trying to tell me that she's ahead by 5 points. That's what I've seen on Channel 5 tonight on their so-called news channel. Wow. That's true, Jim. There's numbers, and then there's the reality called the pulse of the nation. Yeah. We have a caller. We do have a caller, Jim. Okay, so we do have a caller. Let's take the caller now. Let me check just Rumble one more time, and you can feel free to call in. What's going on with Mexico? Rebel Mammoth says 25 people were running for president in Mexico. 24 people died before the election was done.
You're kidding
Mexico.
me.
Really?
25 candidates? I wonder who benefited.
Well, Jim, why are they all killing themselves right before the big day? I don't understand that. That is that's shocking. That's shocking. Okay, we do have a caller. We have Mr. Watland calling in here. Let's see what he's seen in Iowa, because you missed it, Jim. Mr. Watland happened to catch a lot of white Chevy trucks from the DHS. Remember, Department of Homeland Security is going to be doing a cybersecurity drill the day of, and they're all in the little town precincts everywhere right now. Look at this.
Iowa, O'Brien. This is what, Woodbury? See if you can get the lights
Pretty stunning, Jim. Pretty stunning to say the least. Okay, let's take Mr. Watland, who took that footage. Let's get him on stage.
Yeah, there was actually a couple more of them white pickups on the side street, but Mary shut the phone off. But yeah, I believe them to be Homeland Security. There's no markings on the truck. They're real secretive about. They got together and met at our fire station, and Iowa has open meetings law where you're supposed to announce that, if you're being funded by tax money and you want to have a meeting, you better announce it. Well, they don't, and what
do you think? What do you think they were doing there? What do you think was going on?
Well, see, they had scheduled a meeting. They've had a bunch of these FEMA flood people in, and then the mayor was talking about having some
relations,
kind of a meeting with this. I call it ICLEI. I don't know if that's the term he used. It's a like International League of Cities or League of Cities group. He was going to have them. They were going to attend this meeting, and also they were going to have Mike Benson of Homeland Security was going to be in attendance, which maybe he was. Well, I wasn't able to attend that meeting because I had a prior commitment, but.
Well, Mr. Watland, let me ask you this. I mean, how timely do you think this is? Now we have a new hurricane brewing, literally, as we are speaking. And they want to just completely devastate the heartland to just rid all of the nation's food.
That's what it appears.
Now, yeah, so you have FEMA going to all these centers the day prior before all this goes down, and now they want to run cybersecurity drills on election day. Is anybody buying this, Jim?
I don't think anyone who's noticing believes anything the government says. It's obvious they're out to deceive, defraud the American people. They don't give a damn about the Constitution. They just want to stay in power so they can continue to destroy America and enrich themselves. It is just most corrupt I've ever witnessed.
And not to mention the fraud. I mean, yes, we saw her wearing a mask during the State of the Union address with Biden. She has a double. There's her double on the left. There's a weirdo on the yeah. This is a fake Kamala. I took these pictures myself. I did not doctor them. No way, shape, or form. This is a real mask. This is a fake woman, just like Bezos' wife. And that's a captured man on the right. He's all kinds of.
I worry about him.
Oh, bad. He's a funkified, just totally blackmailed, compromised stooge, isn't he? So, Mr. Watland, okay, kind of in closing here, what are your feelings going into the big day tomorrow? What do you see? What's the next shoe that's going to drop here?
Mary and I voted today only because she had to go get her license plates at the courthouse, and it was real convenient for us to vote while we were there. But we had planned on voting at the event center where they held that meeting. That meeting was held out at the event center, and they renamed the meeting to the Iowa Flood Center meeting. And so all these people.
Wow.
They had a hydraulics guy from ISU talking about the weather, and the mayor and some other engineers.
So do you think Trump's going to pull this off tomorrow? Is Trump going to pull this off, or is this Kamala's to lose, as they're promoting in the newspapers? What do you think?
Well, I see Iowa is full of red Trump supporters. I don't see a lot of
well, we've seen this before. Mr. White.
Yeah, we have seen that before. And
So finally, last word. Trump going to pull it off? Yes or no? What do you think?
yes, but
Okay, we'll take it. We'll take it.
I think there's going to be some repercussions, or we're going to have to stand up for it.
Okay, there you have it. Well, thank you, Mr. Watland, for calling in and giving your 2 cents and chiming in there. Thank you very much. Well, there you have it, Jim. We have a lot of optimism still in the electorate. We certainly do. We have a lot of people here. We have Curly May saying the following: Canada has caught people going to the USA on election day to wreak havoc, terrorists. Oh yeah, big time, big time. We have Nigel Dyer saying those trucks are UN trucks in disguise. Yes, those are in Arizona too. The McCain family uses them. Don't forget Father of the Year. Yes. 80% of America wants Trump. This is the great Seth Black. Thank you. 80% of America wants Trump. Yes. And David Pruitt says, worried about another stealing. And finally on Rumble, we have, well, we don't know what we have. We have empty promises are the backbone of the loony lefties. Yes. Thank you, Rebel Mama. And okay, Jim, what about this angle now with Israel starting a war, especially now that the International Court has condemned the illegal occupation in Gaza? In fact, here, look at this, Jim. This just happened today. South Africa just released 750 pages of evidence against Israel. This just came out today. This is coming out of Natural News. Of evidence against Israel in the genocide case. 750 pages detailing every known act of genocide and genocidal intent by Israel in the Gaza Strip, especially the violation of 1948 Genocide Convention. So they're going to prevent itself from failure to punish the evidence is overwhelming. 750 pages, including more than 4,000 pages of annexes. I think they're gonna do a full invasion if Trump wins. I think we're going to be sucked into Iranian-Israel war just like that, like within days, if Trump pulls this off, Jim.
I'm not sure. J.D. Vance said that America has no interest in going to war with Iran, and he couldn't have said it without the approval of Trump. I think Trump's trying to downplay the warlike aspect. I think he's innately a non-interventionist. There weren't any wars during the Trump administration. We had a wonderful economy. We had a secure border. We were energy independent. The economy was thriving. Prices were reasonable. I mean, anyone who asks that question, are you better off now than you were 4 years ago, knows the answer is emphatically no. Emphatically.
Well, let's see here. Here's a little report about just exactly what's going on, because they're going to try to even sink maybe one of our ships to really pull us into a war. Well, this is what's happening now. This is coming out of Sky News. Check this out.
From this field, you can see Gaza on the horizon, a shattered landscape. But these people would all like to go and live there. These are the settlers in waiting, keen to start a new life, to annex Gaza for Israel. But what of the Palestinians who live in Gaza now? Most we spoke to suggested they should be expelled, but some here were even more extreme.
I just think we need to kill them, every one of them, and that's it. And if not that, because the country will not let that happen, the government. Just the least we can do is just kick them out of our land, because this is our home, this is our land, and we deserve it.
Settling Gaza was once a fringe idea, but now it's suddenly mainstream. The National Security Minister was here, telling the crowd that it was the moral and correct solution.
The truth is that this is the most moral, the most correct solution, not under force.
But this, perhaps the biggest draw, a woman who spent 50 years urging people to seize land and settle in the West Bank. She told me Gaza could be occupied even while soldiers were still fighting.
How do you imagine the war will end to let you live in Gaza?
While the war is continuing, we will fill the areas that were liberated with Jewish community.
Across the neighbouring field, a counter-protest from people who see the mere idea of settling in Gaza as repellent, inflammatory, and worryingly popular.
It's no one's right and it's no one's duty, and what they're doing is illegal. What they're doing is A, illegal, B, it's going to cause incredible problems.
The people gathering here say it would be a privilege, a right, even a duty to settle in Gaza. We spoke to a couple with 3 young children who said they were excited at the prospect. But as we spoke, you could hear the thud of shelling. Gaza, which is just 2 miles in that direction, is under attack again.
Israel's focus was once again trained on Jabalia in northern Gaza. Here, people have been rounded up, men separated from women and children. Israel says it is offering them safe passage, that hundreds have already gone. But as they were leaving, more airstrikes hit this cursed town. The people of Jabalia, like so many across Gaza, feel besieged and battered. And yet, just across the border, there are others who are desperate to move in. Adam Parsons, Sky News, near the Israel-Gaza border.
Devastation right in front of our eyes, Jim. That is part of the genocide claim from South African court.
I think
It's really
we're witnessing collective psychosis. I think the inbreeding of the Jewish community over too many generations has induced a form of insanity. This total lack of morality, compassion for other human beings. This is a lack of decency, basic human decency. Saying kill them all. I mean, that's so grotesque, Dean, and reflects such an absence of even the least morality or compassion. I mean, this is the disgusting young woman. Disgusting.
Yeah, here it is. This is her name is Rishet. Rishet says she's a young Israeli who's the daughter of an Israeli soldier deployed in Gaza and now Lebanon. She went to yesterday's Israeli conference of colonizing Gaza. She told Sky News what would happen to Gaza's inhabitants. Quote, we should kill them, every last one of them. Jim, over half the country in Israel kind of replicate that sentiment.
That's right.
You echo Mike Adams has said the same thing regarding the breeding over centuries. He said the same thing in one of his theses.
It's a psychosis. They're actually genetically ill, and it appears to be inborn at this point. They have so selectively inbred. It's grotesque. They're unfit for human communities. These people are unfit for human communities.
Yeah. Yes, they are. Malou says, pure evil statement. Indeed. Mitch says that woman is disgusting. We have Nigel Dyer, Zionist hiding behind Israeli flag. Feel sorry for the real Jews. Yeah. Yes, we have all kinds. I think a lot of people would agree with you. Jim, we're going to take a quick break here before we sail away and say goodnight. And we're going to get your final thoughts and statements here. You're watching night 4 of election coverage. A lot of the same kind of skullduggery going around here. We'll be back after this quick break. We'll take your comments, questions, concerns, conjecture, and then we're out of here, and we're going to be with our members following this broadcast. Stand by. It's a hurricane, ain't it?
Part of the thing that I'm trying to help people, not who are here, obviously, not the leaders who are here, but others understand, is if you're trying to kind of figure out what the stakes are, just imagine the Oval Office, we've all seen it on TV, and just imagine on January 20th.
Well, here's Carrie Lake actually on CNN.
Did you lose the 2022 election for governor? Why are we looking backward? I'm looking forward, Caitlin.
Because
I
you've
already
yet
know
to
what you're
concede
having.
that race.
Well, I want to make sure our elections are run properly, and I'm still in litigation, so I don't want to speak to that.
You don't want to call a woman an asshole, but I'll make an exception in this case. That woman is an asshole. And Kerry's just magnificent. She was beat up. The election was stolen from her, and we all know that. This is a typical Democrat hacks. There's a perfect example of a Democrat hack. And you can send her this video so she knows I said it.
Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books and pens, I can tell that we are gonna be friends. I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Walk with me, Susie Lee, through the park and by the tree. We will rest upon the ground and look at all the bugs we found, and safely walk to school without a sound. Safely walk to school without a sound. 'Cause I can tell that we are gonna be friends. Yes, I can tell that we are gonna be friends.
I can tell we're going to be friends from the wonderful new Tulsi Gabbard wonderful album. What a great job there. More to come here as we are back with night 4 of election coverage. Yes, we are. So much going on. There's so much tension in the air. And soon to be napalm could be following in the air. Tonight is brought to you by you, the Real Deal members out there who make it all happen. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You are a visionary debonair, iconic, not ironic, and a player from that Himalaya. Go to realdealmedia.tv/membership, and we'll be with our members following this broadcast backstage for the big night tomorrow. And finally, thank you to all those who have donated to Real Deal Go to keep this monstrosity going. I'm telling you, they're up in the cost just to keep StreamYard going. I ate it, the cost, because this is how important this is. Everything's going up, reaming us into oblivion. All right, Jim, I'm going to bring you back as we take one more question, maybe two. Jim, that was Tulsi playing the ukulele and singing a wonderful song. I thought that might cheer you up a little bit.
That was Tulsi? Was that really Tulsi?
That was Tulsi Gabbard.
You're kidding me.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, here it is.
Fall is here, hear the yell, back to school, ring the bell, brand new shoes, walking blues, climb the fence, books.
I would never have known, Dean. I would never have known.
Well, you never asked. You never asked. Okay.
Tulsi to me, but there it is.
Yeah, that's really her. She plays ukulele's the national, or what's it called, official instrument of Hawaii. So I think everybody plays that. All right, here we have Mitchell Duke saying the following: Jim, you may have left the Marine Corps. It didn't leave you, thank God.
Mitchell, what a wonderful thing to say. Thank you, my friend.
And Mitch, I should just also add too, he never left NASCAR too. He is a great fast driver. I've been there too. He can drive with the best of them. Okay, here's another one. We have, what about this here? The UN said the Palestinian people are allowed to live free themselves, etc. Get the Israel people back in the Israel land. Where would they go? Because they want to get rid of the settlements, Jim. Where would a lot of those people go who live in Israel? I mean, they have dual citizenship.
Get the hell out of Palestine. The International Criminal Court decreed that Palestine belongs to the Palestinians. That's what they have asserted, and absolutely right.
Well, it sounds like, yeah, we could send them maybe into Montana. There's a lot of land there. Okay. That's true. Okay. And Belinda said very sweet and cute. Yes, very cute and sweet. Yes, that's Jim and I. That's our nicknames. We go by that, our duo. Okay.
She's talking about the song. Yeah.
Oh, my mistake. Okay. So we're gonna do this now. There's there's so much cheating going on. We've seen this before for years. We're gonna give you our final thoughts going into tonight's Night 4 coverage. Yes, we tried our best. Gave you my best years. I gave you my best. Final thoughts here. Let's start with Jim Fetzer, who's going to slam dunk it home and try to make sense of this very confusing world.
Well, Dean, we have one eminently qualified candidate who's actually held the office before and did so with distinction, even though he was being pilloried on all sides. He had aides who would remove an executive order from his desk before he could sign it in the hope that he wouldn't remember. I mean, they were frustrating him on every corner. I think this is one we cannot lose. The whole country will be gone if this Harris person, who's a complete dingbat, is allowed to ascend to the highest office because they've stolen the election. We cannot lose this fight. Period.
Couldn't agree more. Great final thought, Jim Fetzer. Very hard to follow. We will be here tomorrow night, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern, going all the way to roughly 11 p.m. Eastern, maybe more, probably all night. So you don't want to miss that. My final thought is, hey, I see this whole election being dragged out just like 2000. There's going to be some legal battles, some hard fights, and this could get physical, and I'm predicting it will. And I think the military is going to have to, we're going to get to a point, the military is going to have to do what we were planning to do in 2020, which is the true insurrection. We're going to have to black bag these people and get our way, because you can vote your way out of true capitalism, free markets, but you got to do something a little else to get out of this corporate communism. So that's how I see it. It's a long fight ahead, Jim, of lawfare like we've never seen before, just days from now, but really tomorrow night. So anyways, we will be here tomorrow night, everybody.
You may very well have it exactly right, Dean.
I think that's where we're going. So anyways, we'll be back, everybody, tomorrow night, the big nights. So that's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern, all the way to 11. We're going to give you the latest, the greatest. And if I have to go all night, I will. So you don't want to miss that tomorrow night right here at Real Deal Media. So for Jim Fetzer and everyone else here at Real Deal Media, I'm Dean Ryan. So thank you for sharing a bit of your night. In the meanwhile, never forget to stay tuned and always remember to stay. Well, somebody said something. Always remember to stay awake. Good night, everybody.